Do you want to expand into new markets and maximize the earning potential of your Amazon seller account? Then stay tuned because I'm going to show you the best way to add additional revenue streams in other marketplaces, plus a few extras. That's coming up next on Behind the Stone. Welcome back to the Sunken Stone channel, where e-commerce brands, agencies, and do-it-yourselfers receive tips, tricks, and tutorials to improve strategy, growth, and operations every week. So be sure to subscribe. Just click the red subscribe button below or click on our channel page to see more videos. I'm Robert Runyon from Sunken Stone, and today I'm joined by Yana from YLT. How are you doing today, Yana?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great.
That's excellent to hear because we got an awesome show for our listeners today because we're going to show them exactly how to maximize profits from selling in other marketplaces and share the best practices plus common tips that they should avoid. Say you build a successful e-commerce business, maybe you know that you're losing money because you don't have really good keywords in your listings. Well, today I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know using the real life subject matter expertise and examples that YLT has acquired. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is all the things that you need to consider when thinking about translating your Amazon listings into a new marketplace to make more sales. Yana, can you speak to that? Do you have any examples that you can provide?
Yes, absolutely. So the first example, and I always like to point out of that, is that when you translate something like from, let's say, like a US listing, which is English as a source language, to another one, let's say German, because that's like the biggest marketplace in Europe, and most of the sellers want to expand there. You really have to pay attention to like how you do it. So it's not like you just go and hire a translator, because all of the translators are tuned in a way that they translate like word by word. I am a translator myself. I have background in languages and also like a very big experience in e-commerce. So I understand both deals, both worlds, but most of the sellers don't think about it that way. Basically what happens is that your US content for you is very important. And then you're just gonna go and like do Google Translate and not make that content important to the target audience. So when talking about like US and German style, like US style is like very salesy and fluffy, and it kind of pushes you into buying the product. And Germans, they just hate it. So they just want to be like very, like a benefit oriented, like how does it solve my problem? Don't go, telling me that I should buy a product. And, like we did like one example of the glass espresso cup. So this cup had like in the first bullet, it started something like cool, cooler, coolest. That's like the first sentence in the first bullet. And that needed to be changed to something completely else for the German marketplace. And we changed it to thermo isolated glass. That's it. They want to see like, are they gonna burn their fingers? Like, how is it gonna, are they gonna enjoy their coffee? Are they gonna have like problems? Is it like a big, is it a small cup? And then the third bullet went on talking about like, in the US listing, like how your grandma used to drink the espresso while sitting in front of her fireplace. And Germans are just like, unique design, which will fit every shelf. So it's completely two different styles. And this is like one of the most mandatory things that people forget about, and that is localization. Now there are like tons of examples like that. And one of the examples that I ran into like really, recently was one seller was using Google Translate, as a lot of sellers unfortunately do. And it was an Italian marketplace. And then it says it was a bikini, and it says like blue bikini with polka dots, and then they use the word grosso, donna grosso, which means fat women. So it was not like it was intended to be like a plus size, but it turned out to be fat women, So you really don't want to, get into that issue. But I mean, this is what happens a lot. And I'm going to do like, I'm going to do in the near future, like series about like, what are brands doing, bad? What are they doing good? Because you'll be surprised with like how many bigger brands and non-Chinese brands actually don't care about their content on the international marketplace. And this really kind of puzzles me the whole time, because I don't understand. Content is content no matter what country you're in. And this is what's, definitely preventing you from getting the sales you want.
No, you made some really good points there. And actually, whenever you do come out with that series, we'll go ahead and we'll update our description. We'll link to that series below. So anybody watching this video or listen to this podcast can access that information and really improve their listings as well. So, what are some of the things that, Amazon business owners, when they're selling in a new marketplace, like what are the things that they should know before selecting a partner that they should work with?
Right. Well, I would say that before you decide to do any translations, first you should have the whole time period like in your mind. Like, when do you want to get this started? You want to get like your VAT done, and then you want to start like thinking about translations. But you don't want to hire someone only to upload the translation like 4 months later, because sometimes there are like a lot of rules changing, like different different words are banned and stuff like that. So you really want to think of your perfect translation partner maybe like a month before you launch your product, so you can get ready and you're totally just ready to launch all those products. So what you should look in your translation partner is definitely that you have someone who has Amazon experience and who understands Amazon sellers. Because a lot of regular translators and other translation agencies that say they do Amazon, they don't know the rule for the length for your title for the category. They don't know like any rules applying bullets, or maybe they don't know what the HTML code for the product description is and stuff like that. And let alone they don't even know how to perform keyword research. And at the end of the day, keywords are the most important thing of your listing, because they will sell your product, not, I don't know, beautifully written listing without any single keyword. So you have to hire someone who knows how to do keyword research, who knows that they are creating a sales copy. So it's not just like regular translations. You have the base text, like you can base yourself upon that text, but you have to convey the same message of the brand across other marketplaces. And this means that you have to use localization, which means that sometimes you have to do like a sort of a rewrite every now and then, because you really do not want to, you don't want this brand to be presented in a weird way on a new marketplace. So you really want to have someone who knows what they're doing and who understand that this copy is actually a sales copy, not just like a text in a book. And whenever people, hire translators, they don't understand that, like if you hire translators that do like medical search term reports or like legal agreements, it's like, getting like a boob job from a dentist, it doesn't make much sense. So you really have to understand that, you have to find a niche translator or agency who can help you with that.
I like that analogy there.
Well, I guess everybody will relate to that.
Exactly. So let's say that we're in the middle of optimizing listings for other marketplaces. Like, what are, say, 5 tips that people should avoid, and what's the cost of messing it up or using erroneous keywords? How can our listeners and viewers solve these problems? And what's the best way, that you found?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I would want people to really pay attention to this, because these are the mistakes that could easily be avoided. So what usually people do when we've seen that happens the most, because we do like a lot of different listing audits throughout the month. And what we've seen that doesn't work is definitely using Google Translate or any other machine translation tool. Machine translation, they have gone a long way, but they still cannot be compared, not even slightly, with the human translator and with the human touch and localization. So that's like what we've seen that definitely can ruin everything. People still massively go into that. If Amazon offers you their Launchpad tool for translation, that's not something amazing. It's basically Google Translate. They're just going to rename it into Launchpad Amazon tool, but nothing fancy. It's just going to just damage your listing a lot. So by doing this, you're wasting a lot of like time and a lot of money. And how so? Because every time when you start with a new product, like on a new different marketplace, Amazon gives you that, so-called honeymoon period, where Amazon actually gives you more than kind of you deserve. So Amazon gives you a chance to see like, they're gonna push you like to page 1 and like see like, okay, so let's see what this product is relevant for. And when you don't have the right keywords, or when you have the wrong keywords, Amazon will see that you are not relevant for the search terms that you would want to be relevant for, because you will be shown up there like with thousands of impressions. But if your click-through rate is super low, they'll be like, well, I guess people don't think this is the product that they want to buy after typing these keywords. And then Amazon will push you to like page 2 and page 3 and so on, and then it will take forever for you to come back. I mean, there is a way how to restart the honeymoon period, but if you can avoid that, that'll be great, because even though you can restart the honeymoon period, you cannot ever restart reviews. So that's what's going to kind of bury you forever. If you start selling, get like, maybe people are misled by your listing, by the keywords, by the, poorly translated content, and then they buy the product, they expect something else, then they write like a 2-star review, and then there's nothing much to do, just like to have to just pick another ASIN number, basically kind of reindex that, but it's back in the warehouse. But I mean, it's still super difficult. So you'll be potentially losing so much money and a lot of time. So why would you do that if you're trying to like place your bestseller overseas? So you already have a best-selling product. Most of the best-selling products in the States will work quite well in Europe. So why would you, just dig a hole under you, just like by doing all of that, when you can just kind of have the content ready? And what's even better is like whoever does your content and does the keyword research, they can give you these keywords and you can use them in your PPC campaign. So you'll also be using the correct keywords for your product. So this is like I think #1 mistake that people make by just kind of using machine translation, not caring at all what it does on the international marketplace. International expansion has been very trending ever since COVID, because like a lot of big brands, or like even brick and mortar brands, they've been like pivoting to like e-commerce and online selling only. So yes, they've been diversifying on like different channels, like Walmart and like Shopify and stuff like that. But like when it comes to Amazon, people have been like branching out to different marketplaces now more than ever. And this is because they want to kind of diversify and try out new things. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of sellers who are like listening to us today have never even tried, like typing their products in the German marketplace and see how less competition they have there, or maybe even checking like their PPC clicks. Like I'm sure they're cheaper than for like a highly competitive product in the US marketplace.
Those are absolutely wonderful tips that you gave. And just kind of in closing here, do you have any best practices to share or final recommendations to anybody that may be listening or watching this?
Right. Well, so let's say the rule of thumb is that whenever you like use keywords, and like what should be like the rule for the US marketplace as well, that you should just kind of avoid overstuffing singular and plural work in all the same in all languages. And basically you should name the A+ content pictures with a keyword you haven't used in the listing and stuff like that. So basically all strategy like works. But for instance, like when you use Helium 10, and a lot of people do, that's also like our favorite go-to tool. Like for instance, like for certain languages, it's not optimized that well. Like for instance, what Helium 10 does is like when you have keyword, like when I go to like Magnet and do the keyword research, so the word count is automatically placed as 1. So you want to get like 1 word for place 2. So you want to get like 2 words in all of the results for like long tail keywords that you want to get. But the German language is so different than English, and it has a lot of these like big chunky compound words. Like they can literally express like a whole sentence with 1 word. And those are like very often, words in German. This is what they use when they talk and when they describe their product. And because this like this feature is set like word count is #2, these big compound words are never going to show up, and you will think that you've been like indexed and you've been ranking for everything your competitors are, but you will not be. You'll definitely be missing out on these like long compound words that are like very frequently used in German. And we've done like a couple of things and a couple of like tests and stuff like that, and we've noticed that like usually these compound words are almost always in top 50 keywords. So, before you want to do like the keyword research on German marketplace, it's important to switch that word count as 1 and then go and do it again for 2 and then merge those two Excel sheets that you get like into one. And that's how you find, for instance, like good German keywords. And the problem with like other marketplaces is like for like a Dutch marketplace or like Sweden or like Poland is like you don't even have like, tools that perform that. So you have to do everything manually. But I mean, so does your competitor. There's nothing more you can do. Maybe you can use like Google AdWords. Like we sometimes use the keyword planner because that will also get like indexed like on Google as well. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone that way.
Absolutely wonderful tips. You've really informed our audience, our listeners, our viewers. For more great tips on international expansion and new marketplaces, be sure to reach out to Yana and the YLT team, where you'll receive a free audit and actionable tips to improve your listings in other marketplaces. You can get that by clicking the links in the description box below this video. So what's your next step? You reach out to the YLT team and they'll help you reach more targeted customers and sell more products. And if you really want to level up your e-commerce strategy, then watch this video next. It's called 5 Proven E-commerce Marketing Strategies to 10x Your Business. And you'll learn insider secrets from Tanner Tozan and CEO Adam Weiler on how to scale 7- and 8-figure e-commerce businesses. Just click on the video and I'll see you on your screen now.